Mason White hit 3 home runs in a scrimmage the other day.
Yes, he did.
One of them was like 490 feet.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what the track man said, but we don't know.
But he's like, he's 5'9" or so,
Right.
and he's hit a lot of home runs, he's had a lot of doubles and triples. How does he do that?
Well, I mean, Jose Altuve does it, right? He's a lot smaller than him. It's all about body mechanics and how your hips work and what your bat speed can get up to. He just keeps the bat in the zone for a long time. So when he gets it, it goes a long way. And we noticed that the minute we started recruiting him, that his swing was gonna be an exciting one here.
So he was obviously kind of snuck up on people a little bit last year as a freshman. You bat him, 6th in the lineup or something like that.
Right.
Now he's going to be, I'm sure, batting 2nd or 3rd, something like that. Everyone knows who he is. He's on all these lists. What kind of adjustments do you think he's going to have to make now that everyone's kind of knows that he's a guy that you can't just serve him up?
Right. I think last year he got that sort of, attention from other teams. As we went on, they knew, it's not like you just throw balls right down the middle to certain guys on the team. The pitching coaches are really good, and they do the scouting reports. And so I think one thing that's important for him is that the guys behind him, whether it's Guerin and Emilio Corona and Guerin Caulfield, they're going to have to show that they can do damage when they pitch around him. If they want to walk him to pitch those guys, they're going to have to do a little damage early in the season so teams don't sort of give him that treatment. Last year we used Kiko hit behind Chase, and Chase would still take his walks, and teams paid for it with Kiko ended up with a school record in RBIs.
So those 3 are like the known quantities,
Right,
from both internal and external. But is there a lot of uncertainty otherwise with your lineup as far as you don't really know what you're going to get until the games happen?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I think that's a great point. We feel like we know what's going to happen, but I always talk about until those lights come on in college baseball. It's like when we sent guys from AAA to the big leagues, and then we thought, oh, this guy's going to be great, and you put the third deck on a stadium, things changed. When those lights go on against Northeastern on Friday night, and you cross that white line, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, we feel like with Summerhill, Breyfogle, Rogers, Andrew Kane. There's guys, young kids are going to get a chance early. There's some JC kids that are going to get chances. Morales has looked very good. We think they all can be very successful. Usually when you get into, 2-3 weeks into the season, you're not going to have 12, 13 guys playing. It'll probably whittle down to those 10, 8, 9, 10 with the 2 catchers. McDonald and Guzman, getting the bulk of the catching time.
So there will be a fair amount of tinkering, you think, those first few series?
We'll see. Yeah. I hope this weekend, shows me a little bit. I'm hoping we know we're going to play tomorrow. Saturday is a big day with the red-blue game and the meet the team and the weather. I don't know if it's gonna be okay, but we'll see. If we have to go indoors and get the at-bats done, we will. But we'll play Sunday, and then I have to make a determination. Our coach had to sit down, and that's what's been hard. It's been tough. There's 4 or 5 outfielders in the mix. There's, the 2 catchers have been neck and neck.
When it comes to eating up innings for your staff, when you assess last year, do you think your pitchers need to do a better job of managing the game or getting crucial outs?
I think they need to do everything better. That's why we made the change at pitching coach. Kevin Vance has done a wonderful job so far. Like we said, we'll see when the season starts, but we have very encouraged by the guys that we had last year. We feel like they're much better, and the things that you just asked the questions on, I think they're doing it all better, whether it's getting crucial outs, whether it's going the ability to go deeper in a game. But I don't know if that's even going to be as important with the depth we have. I think one thing, obviously you can look at it as a negative when you look at what the coaches ranked us in our league and where we've been sort of shown to be by D1 and all these different publications. But all they can do is go on what happened last year. And they see we lost most of our position players. And we are veteran in our pitchers, but their numbers weren't very good. So obviously, that's how come I think we've been ranked so low. We feel like those guys improved a lot. We think we've added some really good pitchers, so it should be really fun.
Would you mind going through the lineup position by position and just giving, if it's more than one guy, who are the couple guys at each spot?
Yeah, I could do it this way. I could say, catching-wise, Adonis Guzman, Blake McDonald, the transfer from Blake's from St. Mary's College. Adonis came from Boston College, where Kevin Vance was, so we knew him pretty well. And then Tommy Splain, who caught a lot of the season last year, he'll be in the mix also to catch. Those three are probably the main guys we're going to lean on early on. First base would be Tommy Splain. If those the two other kids do fine, he'll probably get the bulk of the time at first base. Garen Caulfield will play second as our veteran, and then Mason will play short. And then third base is been a battle. Morales has done Richie Morales is a JC transfer from State College of Florida. He's done a really good job. He's a veteran hitter that knows how to get on base. He can really run. He got a great arm. Andrew Kane, the freshman from Ironwood Ridge, has done a great job. Xavier Esker was sort of our, jack of all trades in the fall. He did well at short, he did well at third, he did well at second, he played first. He'll find a way to get in there. He's just a gamer. So that's another guy at third base. In the outfield, you're talking about Brendan Summerhill. And all these guys are interchangeable. And as you know, at High Corbett, it's very difficult to play left field. So, that's one thing that's concerned us a little bit. We were so lucky with Chase for 2 years with the arm and the speed to be able to cover left field, where Brendan has the speed and he has a good arm. He seems to be settling in there in left, and then T.J. Adams, Brandon Rogers, Easton Breifogel, who's a freshman from Minneapolis. Those three have really done well in center, and then Emilio Corona will play right field. So I gave you a lot of names there. Yeah, I didn't. And the DH situation, one of those guys probably, and then the other guy who's been he's just a great kid. Done well in the classroom, and he's really hit is Cade Huff, and he's a redshirt freshman.
Do you have anybody that you don't expect to be available for the beginning of the season?
The only guy that's coming back that won't be on the roster because of Tommy John is Kenan Ellerton, but I think you guys knew that already. But no, everybody should be good. Knock on wood, this weekend goes well, and Candiotti and Kent and these guys that we expect to pitch for us get through the 5 or 6 innings.
Obviously, with February weather, you kind of have your pick of the litter of teams that want to come down here and play you guys in February. What went into scheduling Northeastern, and how valuable is it to have a top 25 opponent coming in here?
Well, I can't take any credit. Obviously, Dave Lawn, who left and went to TCU, he did most of our scheduling. He did it for Jay when he was here. So those schedules are done 3, 4, 5 years out. So they were on our schedule when I got the job, and like you say, it's going to end up being a great team to play. They're going to be really good in their conference back east. They're going to be good against us. They're going to test us, which we need to be tested. And I think some people might come to games going Northeastern, but this is, like you said, a top 25 team. They have a outfielder that's going to be a first-round pick, maybe a top 10 pick. So it's an exciting team to play against. Kevin, of course, Vance, was at Boston College, played them a bunch on midweek games, knows a lot about them. So it turns out that it's a great schedule for us.
When you combine the non-conference games and the tournament in Texas and whatnot, you'll end up playing more regular season games away from High Corbett than home, which I don't know when the last time that happened. While that may look like it's going to be difficult, that can also provide you with a lot of good win opportunities when you're looking for postseason. Is that
we weren't. That wasn't in the thinking. The thinking was just we had the opportunity to go to the Frisco tournament. Again, like I said, these schedules were already set before we got there. The tough thing for us here in Tucson is the midweek games. We have Grand Canyon. We play ASU either home or away once. This year it'll be up in Phoenix. It's just tough to get teams. New Mexico will come, New Mexico State. We're going to go to New Mexico State this year to play one. But that's where we've kind of gone, and now we're going to play Stanford in a non-conference game. Out of conference on a Monday, we're going to play Loyola Marymount after we play USC. So we've kind of had to do that to get those, to try to get up to the 56 games.
Being picked to finish ninth, you've said that
Yeah.
it's because they don't really, the experts, quote unquote, or maybe the other coaches around the league don't know what kind of team you have. Do you feel like you know what's going to happen? I mean, you said maybe it changes when the lights.
Yeah. I mean, we have a feeling of what we have a good feeling about our club. We have this. They've done a great job in the weight room all fall. They've come together as a group, as a team. The pitching staff, especially, has been way more together than we have in the past. It's been very noticeable. But again, it all goes out the window as soon as that Northeastern game starts. We have to see what we look like. And I think our guys, it's almost like football. I think if you ask football coaches, or when I played high school football, there's a time where you have to go hit somebody else. And it's time for us now to have somebody else on the other side, because it's getting intense. Let's put it that way. Even we had at-bats in the cages the other day, where we open them all up and we have a rubber and the pitcher's going full bore, TrackMan's on, the hitters are going against them in the cages. I mean, there's a lot of banter going back and forth. So we're ready for the banter to go to the other team.
Have you identified your starting rotation for the opening week?
We're getting there. We're getting there. I think, and that's what I was saying about, we're going to stretch these starters out to 6 innings this week, 100 pitches hopefully. But it might be the most pitches they throw, because we're going to be loaded, in my opinion, of the ability to bring, whoever starts, bring another guy that's been built up to be a starter in and maybe finish the game. We can almost piggyback in certain situations.
Well, a guy like, is Braden Sastro kind of an example of that? Someone who's been a starter who may be in more of a relief role this year but can do bulk innings?
Yes. Okay. Yes. Maybe not 4 or 5. We're not going to stretch him out that far, but yeah, definitely more than 1 inning.
And what went into the decision to kind of put him?
I think Kevin Vance and John DeRoyan, our player development coach this year, who's a pitching on the pitching side of it, just them talking and looking at the pitches and the body mechanics and all the things that they look at, they kind of put guys in better spots for them to have success.
And there were several guys where arm slots maybe changed a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, we dropped Casey down a little bit to be tougher on righties. Another guy that's been pretty impressive, was really good yesterday, Jaden Swanberg from South Point. We dropped him down from the left side, so he's more of a sidearm guy, just to get some different looks. So yeah.
With Kevin and John, was it a matter of where you're like, do your magic, like figure out, like look at what we had here and see what needs to change? Like you just left them to their devices?
Yeah. And then when the season starts and let's say somebody does well that they've been working with, I'll just take the credit. And when they struggle, I'll give it on them.
Are you still going to be the one to make the pitching changes during the game?
I think so. We've kind of gone both during these inter squads, because I might be doing something else, so he runs out there and does it. But I think in the end, I kind of wanted to give that to him completely this year. And then somebody made the point to me that, I never thought of this as a manager, because I've always done it as a head coach and a manager in pro ball, but the guy's never happy when you take him out, right? The pitchers are always, for 90% of the time, they think they shouldn't be taken out. So it might as well be me that's the bad guy, and Kevin could be the good guy.
Is Casey a full-time pitcher?
No. He's played really good shortstop for us. He'll lead off today on one team, or tomorrow, excuse me, I'm a day ahead. So tomorrow we're going to play at noon, an inter squad, and he'll lead off for one team, and then he'll pitch on Saturday, so he won't hit, and then he'll play again on Sunday.
Okay. Do you believe in that certain guys have the clutch gene in them, and it's Emilio Corona, maybe one of those guys?
Yeah, I do. I think it's. I've always said that about. I think one of the things in professional baseball for a long time that people, especially analytics, started to say, well, RBIs is just it's just because guys are on base for them. And I have always said, if you can find a guy that can drive people in, he's a special person. It's not easy. I mean, it's hard. Even with guys on third, less than 2 outs, the game changes, the pitcher changes. So, yeah, Emilio has a really special way of being able to get big hits in big spots.
Your final year with the Dodgers, you played with Tom Candiotti?
Yes.
Okay. How did that come about, getting his son here? I saw that he's been everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I've been pretty public about the fact that we were pretty hard in the portal this year. We went after a lot of guys. We had a lot of open spots in the field. We wanted to get some more veteran pitchers, a catcher. And he was one of the first people from Wichita State when their coach, the other coach had been let go during the season. So a lot of their players were looking elsewhere. And Kevin, Toby, Tripp, of course, who's our recruiting coordinator, Tripp Couch, they look at the video. And basically when Kevin Vance and John Deroyan break down video, it's either a yes or a no. And they really liked what they saw. And the ability, whether he was really good already or the ability of something they saw there that they could make better. So we went after him, and Tom and Clark came down, and we had a great visit, and we were lucky enough to get him.
He doesn't throw a knuckleball, right?
No.
Why do you think more pitchers don't try to do that?
I think it's just it's not easy to do, first of all. And most of the time it's guys who are at the tail end. I think Tom, he wasn't originally a knuckleball pitcher. He had a good arm. He was one of the harder throwing knuckleballers that I ever played against or with.
This is kind of an annual question, but being able to field live ground balls, see live fly balls in the actual wind and the actual air, I think that gives you an advantage in February.
It should. It should. I mean, like you said earlier, I mean, they're coming out of indoors. They're going to be here Wednesday, so they'll practice here Thursday. And on the flip side of it, there's a reason why Northeast schools and schools from back east are sometimes because you go to Cape and play against them with a lot of these guys, and you're like they're just tougher dudes, man, because they have to deal with all that all the time. Our guys, we get a lot of good weather. Now this year hasn't been so good. Obviously, we've had a really tough time getting everything in with the weather. But one thing we know about them is they're going to be really, really tough guys, and they're veteran.
This year being the last year in the Pac-12, obviously the Big 12 is also a strong baseball conference, but what's kind of your feelings about this being the last year in this conference and getting to see all these teams a couple more times?
Yeah, it's and that's one of the reasons why we decided to schedule Stanford as a non-conference game, because we're playing at Cal the 3 games, and Stanford will come here later in the year. But we wanted to play one more time at Sunken Diamond for sure. We'd like to get them on schedules in the future. It's not as easy as just saying, hey, Dave, can we play you guys? They've already got their schedules built out for years too. It's sad, in one side of my body, I tell myself, I grew up as a Pac-8 guy in the 70s and in the late 60s and played in the Pac-10 and, now in coaching the Pac-12. This was a great conference, not just baseball, but other sports, especially the Olympic sports. It's a great conference. So it's sad in a way. I mean, I think the baseball side of it, we're going to be lucky to go to the Big 12. Everywhere you go is going to be packed houses. But it's just tough. It's tough to leave the West Coast. It's our footprint. We recruit in it. We will continue to recruit there, but who knows? Who knows what the future holds?
With the NIL challenges, I guess, that are out there, do you view what you're trying to do with pitching as maybe a way to mitigate that a little bit, like give yourself an edge? If you we don't have the resources.
No, I know where you're going with it. Yeah. We're trying. Yeah, I mean that's part of it. We feel like we've always felt at this program, whether it was Frank Sansett, Jerry Kendall, Jerry Stitt, Andy Lopez, Jay Johnson, or me and Chip Hale, that it's a development program. We're going to get the best players we can get, of course. Whether they're first rounders or not drafted players, but we're going to make them better, and we're going to get them ready for pro ball. And I think now on the pitching side with Coach Vance has done such a good job with developing the program that these guys it's showing some of our recruits, hey, look what you can turn into. And with your arm, because we have some really big-time arms coming in next couple of years, I think they're, just seeing them and talking to them, coming to our camps, they're really excited about the opportunity to get better. So, yeah, we are trying to use that.
Were you surprised at all at the leap that Jackson Kent made during the summer? In whatever...
In the Cape League, yeah. And at Yarmouth Dennis. No, I was not. He pitched really well for us. I mean, that was a sad thing is yesterday, I think Kevin and John, we started talking about certain guys and, hey, this guy did really well for us. And then they're bringing up the numbers. It's like a 6.6 here. I'm like, it didn't seem that bad, but it was. So I knew he had it in him. And just to get the opportunity to kind of go out there, not maybe in this pressurized situation. The Cape is unbelievable baseball, but you're going to pitch. You're going to get out there. And he's continued that under the tutelage of these two coaches into the fall program and now into the spring.
A key having an out pitch, a swing and miss pitch rather than pitch to contact in college just seems like you're playing with fire.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, we did it the other day. Clark struck out 12 or 13, what it was in 4 innings, right? It was ridiculous. And then the other team didn't do much better. And so there was a lot of tension with the hitters, like, we don't strike out like this. So the next day, in our next inter squad, we played, we were really good with 2 strikes. And we were just basically, like you said, we touched the ball and good things happened. They bounced over the infield. Guy made an error. We, battled and walked. So, yeah, there's definitely being able to strike people out is important.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, guys.